Hey guys, what is up? This is Cody, or xCodeh. How's it going today? Hopefully everybody watching is having yourself a snazzy day. Let me know in the comments down below where you're watching the video from, inside or outside of the United States. I always love to know. Today's video is a story that I've never told on my channel before, and listen, I'm kind of exposing myself because I gave you guys the false impression that the first time I ever smoked weed was the story video that I have uploaded on my channel already. But the actual first time I smoked weed wasn't as eventful, so I kind of titled that one as the first time smoking because that was like the first time I got blasted. But this story, which is kind of like two stories in one, was also pretty funny. So this is the first time that I ever bought and the first time that I ever smoked weed. This took place when I was in 8th grade, so I was literally 12 or 13 years old. Way too young to be doing this. I had a couple friends that were hyping up 420 like it was some holy day. The greatest day of the year, better than Christmas. And this was also about the time where we were in that health class, teaching us all about drugs and the dangers of drugs, and if you do acid, your life will be ruined forever. Same thing with weed. It goes on to weed, and I could tell that they were like, this might not kill you, but it'll ruin your life. It was a little bit different than the rest of the drugs, so it had me thinking, like, let me look more into this. I really have no idea what sparked my interest so much when I watched those health class videos, but they really got to switch them up. Because I went home that day, did a bunch of research about drugs. Like, it's got to be the most counterproductive thing I could think of. But anyways, I remember looking up a lot about acid because I was super interested in, seeing random stuff or just what that was like because of how movies depicted it. And I was a little bit scared to do that. Moved on. I went to weed, and then I found out all this information of like, oh, it's not that bad for you. It could never kill you. And that contradicted what I just saw in the health class video. So I went up to my friends and asked them about it one day after school when we were hanging out in the downtown area where like a million of my stories happened. And I go up to them and I'm like, I want to try weed. And they all look at each other and laugh, and they're like, you finally want to try it? Like they had been doing it for years or something. They'd only been smoking for maybe a year. Like, what? They're flexing on me or something. Like, oh, he finally wants to. All right. And then they hit me with but we don't want to make you do it. We're not going to peer pressure you into doing it. But they totally were at the same time. Classic peer pressure right there. So they talk me into it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy $20 worth. A couple days later, we're nearing 420. As the days go on, they're hyping up 420 more and more to me. Like it's going to be the best day of the year, like I said. They set me up with a friend who happens to be the redneck friend. The introduction. The first time I ever met him, I hear all these stories. They're telling me he has this weed pipe that's shaped like a kitten. And it really was. It's like one of those cats that you see at a Chinese restaurant with like the constantly moving arm. And that he was the connect. He could get me some weed. So I met up with him. This was where you waited for the bus at the end of the day. I give him the $20 and he looks around all super sketchy, and he hands me this little gray treasure chest. It looked like something you'd put at the bottom of a fish tank. I shove it in my pocket without even looking at it, all super nervous. I walk away, meet up with my friends, and we just leave the school, start walking towards the downtown area because the day was over. We leave. And the moment I step foot off those school grounds, we kind of walk onto a side street. I take it out of my pocket, and I will never forget this moment. Breaking open that little treasure chest, giving it a smell. And at this point, I haven't ever smelled anything like this. This was like the first time I had ever smelled it, but on top of it, it was like my brain connecting so many synapses of like, wait a minute, I've smelled this before. Like it's so many different situations, like walking by, people smoking, or at like a party event, and then there's like a group of adults like off in the distance that took a walk and smoke, and they come back smelling like skunk, something like that. Situations where you don't know what that smell is, but the adults will just blame it on skunk or something. It was like I had been sprayed by a skunk in the face, but it was good. Like it was incredible. I had fallen in love immediately by this smell. And I've never smelled weed that smelled like this since. It must have been like my brain's first time ever smelling it. I guess it's kind of similar of like if you smoke weed in a room all day, you're not going to really smell the weed. Like if you were to leave the room for 30 minutes and come back in. I guess my nose is just a seasoned, prestiged veteran of smoking, so I just cannot smell it like this anymore. It's just me and one other friend, and he's like super excited to smoke because he loves smoking and he wants me to try it for the first time. We walk all the way downtown to this one specific spot. It was called the Band Shell because they have like a symphony that plays there sometimes, and they also have like concert settings. There's a huge lawn that you could stand in. It was also a pretty chill place to smoke some weed and smoke cigs and drink Arizona. as long as there wasn't an event going on, which there barely ever was. We went to the CVS, and I don't know how the hell I remember this, but I got a brisk lemon and lime iced tea. I think I remember it because of the next part of the story, but it's blowing my mind that I remember that. We're sitting on this bench shell. I'm drinking my iced tea. My friend's probably smoking a cigarette. I hadn't even started smoking cigs at this point. And I break open the treasure chest. But like, we still don't know how we're going to smoke this. This is the problem right now. Like, we have nothing, no way to smoke it. No rolling papers. We don't even know how to roll, even if we had rolling papers or a blunt or anything. Didn't have a bowl. And I was like, at this point, I was too nervous. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm backing out. Like, I was being a pussy about it, man. And he's just like, how about we just eat it? So I'm thinking to myself, will that work? Like, will that get us high? And he's like, I don't know. Like, let's just do it anyways. Let's try it. So we each take like a little bit, which was a considerable amount. I only had a gram. The dude probably shorted me, gave me 0.5 or something. We could have given someone that young a straight bag, dude. Come on. Even if it was real, I'm sitting there grabbing like a good amount probably, putting it in my mouth. And man, it tasted so good. Oh, I fucking love the taste of weed. It's such a waste. And especially now, I'd only do it with like bud from the dispensary maybe, because you buy weed from their plug. It's been touched by 10 hands before it gets there. It's like a dollar bill, essentially. So putting that in your mouth is like a little gross. He was telling me all these stories of how he chewed on stems and got so high. So I got it in my mouth. I'm chewing it. It's like an explosion of skunk. Just, I don't know. It's so hard to describe it. It's so much different than the way weed tastes and smells. It's like super strong. It takes over your whole mouth like you got a piece of garlic in your mouth or something. And as soon as I realized this, like, damn, bro, my breath is gonna stink. My dad's gonna fucking know. He's gonna freak out. I'm gonna get in trouble. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get caught. I'm freaking out. I'm not even high. I'm freaking out. Literally nothing happens. We wasted the weed. Like, it just tasted really good. I'm sitting there chugging iced tea, trying to get the fucking flavor to go away, or the taste of weed out of my mouth, and it feels like it's making it worse. Like, it's like intensifying the smell, and I'm bugging out. My friend's trying to reassure me it's okay, you know, it won't smell it by the time. He didn't smell it. All right, the smell goes away in probably an hour or two. But I'm bugging out because we have no money for food. So I'm just like, oh shit, we can't even get the smell out with a piece of pizza or anything. So here's where the actual first time smoking weed story happened. And I want you to leave a like on the video because I could have milked these stories and put it into 2 separate videos, but I'm giving you a long video instead. So leave a fucking like right now. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And before I continue, huge thank you to everybody who's supporting me on Patreon. For $1 or $2 a month, you can support the channel and get access to the secret unlisted smoking videos that I make. Link in the description for more information. Huge thank you to everybody. Here's a list of all the names on screen right now. Enjoy the rest of the story. So the day has come, 420. I go over to my homie's house for the first time. It had been the first time I ever went to his house. I heard all these stories, getting baked at his house. His parents didn't care, so it was like a safe haven for smoking. We're chilling in his backyard, probably a group of 4 or 5 people, and he takes us on this cool trail. He's got this super cool trail leading from his backyard that leads to these power lines that lead all the way to the main road. It was pretty secluded. It was a great spot to smoke. It was a fantastic day. Sun was out. April. Finally, some warmer weather coming. It's brutal up here in Connecticut in the wintertime, so April is a great time. You step outside and the sun hits you and you feel happiness that you hadn't felt in 3 months. So out of the 4 or 5 people there, literally none of us had a bowl. Like, what the fuck, man? None of us had a bowl. I mean, we weren't even old enough to buy one. That was probably the reason. One person had papers, but we didn't have enough bud. So what did we do? The good old fallback plan. Plan B, we got fucking soda can, poked a couple holes in there, made a carb, had a tin can pipe, a soda can pipe. Would I recommend doing this? Absolutely not. Because I didn't know all those years. I probably did it 1,000 times, man. Just disgusting. I don't even want to think about how many times I've done that in my life. Smoked straight out of a can, but if you didn't know, there's a thin layer of plastic inside of the can, and you're smoking directly through paint. That has been studies done that I believe, I'm pretty sure I heard this from a couple different people over the years, that when smoked and inhaled on a soda can, causes Alzheimer's disease. So anyways, moving on. Don't smoke out of cans. Use an apple. So we got the soda can pipe rocking, poke some holes in it, and I'm looking at my treasure chest and it's in shambles. All right, there's maybe 2 hits of weed in all just stems, basically big pile of stems. So I pack what I got. I think someone else there packs a little bit of what they had. This was 420. Nobody was prepared. We didn't have enough weed. We were fucking all young, broke as hell, no jobs, using fucking allowance and saved up lunch money to buy weed. And I was super fucking nervous to hit this, so I'm like, all right, I'll go last. Everybody go first. By the time that can got to me, there was one stem, ash, and maybe like a 16th of a hit on this fucking can pipe. I hit it, and I remember like, it didn't feel like much in the back of my throat. Like I had tried a cigarette before, like just a couple drags. I didn't get into smoking yet, but I tried a couple drags, and I thought a cigarette was more harsh. I thought I was gonna cough like a hyena. I'm seeing all these videos of people smoking online, and they're dying the first time they smoke, and I'm just, oh, that's it? Nothing. Didn't even cough. Obviously, I don't think I got a good hit. Mostly ash, stems. So that now I'm a little disappointed. Everybody around me, his eyes are red, they're giggling, they're fucking stoned, and I'm sitting there sober like, what the fuck? I just put weed in and I'm not even feeling anything. So my stoned ass friend, I go over to him and I'm like, dude, do you have any more weed? And he pulls out his bag and it's just stems like mine, because he had this little thing going on, thinking that if he saved up his stems, he could make stem tea and get high. Bro, we had like a quarter ounce, half ounce of stems once, tried to brew it into some tea, didn't feel shit. I don't know if we did it wrong, but anyways. He had his little stem bag going, and he's like, dude, I mean, like, we could smoke these or something. And I'm like, all right, I got some stems too. Let's roll a joint, man. He's like laughing as he's doing it, stoned as fuck. I'm sitting there like frustrated. He's rolling up a fucking zigzag paper joint of broken up stems. Like, that's it. There was no bud, just straight up stems. Somehow manages to get it into like an actual fucking shape of a joint. It's fucking poking out all over the place. There's no holes in it. It's intact. I don't know how he did this. He lights it, takes a couple hits, and he's like, this tastes like shit, dude. It's all you, man. And I took a couple hits. It was horrible. Fucking horrible. I've never got that headache that people always say that, like, you don't want to smoke stems or seeds because you'll get headaches. I've never experienced that before. Not that I really went out of my way to smoke stems or seeds, but there's totally been times where I was like, fuck it, I'm not wasting it. There's trichomes on the stem. I'm just going to break it up and put it in. Doesn't taste good. I'll tell you that for one thing. I maybe got a hit off of that, but I wouldn't even call that a hit. I don't think there's a lot of THC in there. Maybe some minuscule amount. We all go back into his house. They're fucking baked. I'm laying on his carpet floor looking up at the ceiling, thinking I'm high. Full placebo mode, like 110% placebo. And even the friend next to me is like, dude, you're not high. Come on, like get off the floor. What are you doing there, buddy? But I'm like, I don't know. I feel kind of weird. And that's all I really felt. I just felt fucking weird. I've heard that the first time that you smoke weed, in some people, not everybody, some people it'll just hit you like a train right away. But I guess there's this phenomenon where the first time that you ingest THC, it like kind of teaches your cannabinoid receptors in your brain. I believe it's your CB receptors. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. It basically teaches them, gives them the blueprint of how to take in this THC that you just put in your body. So the next time that you do, it's just gonna go bananas. I believe that's the science of it. I'm not a fucking doctor. Don't take my word for it. This isn't scientific or medical advice at all. But man, that's just from what I've gathered over the years. I think that's just something that happens with people. Some people, at least. And my God, the next time that I smoked, cop that purple kush. It was brown. It was not purple kush, but that's what he said it was. I'm not going to tell you this whole story because I literally have an entire video at first time smoking weed. It's on. I'll put a card up in the top right of the screen right now. Go check it out. I remember for some reason we were skating to the spot where we were going to smoke this weed. And I'd wanted to like sell the weed to get more or something. I had this, for some reason I like stopped these high school kids, like kids that were clearly older than us. And I was like, hey dude, you want to buy some weed? And I took out my bag and he's like, what the fuck is this? Is this fucking mids, bro? Get the fuck out of here. No idea what he meant by that. I had no idea. I was like, oh, okay, it's mids? Oh, okay. I had no clue what the fuck that meant. And man, did I get fucking blasted on those mids. I don't know if it was mids. I think those kids were just snobs or something. But man, that story was nuts. I felt like I was tripping. Nothing like this first time smoking story I just told you. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was the first time I had ever bought weed, ate it out of a treasure chest thinking I was going to get high, and then smoking a joint of stems and thinking I was also going to get high. But I at least got a solid hit or two in, I think. But it just wasn't like a good bowl hit. It wasn't like a good hit off a joint. It wasn't that much smoke. Combined, the two hits that I got was probably a sixth of what I needed. So an epic failure, you could call this. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, leave me your stories in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Stay high, stay lifted, and follow my cat on Instagram. Peace.